Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Sunday, December 1st, 2024. My newest segment of Markets, a look ahead. We got to get up to speed. A lot of things going on here, people. My job, you know what it is. Connect the dots, essentially. And you and I have been so on target with this, it's frankly been scary. We are going to be facing hardship across the board moving forward, not just here in the United States. You know what I'm going to tell you? This is going to be a worldwide phenomenon. And the developments over the weekend really should allow you to know how bad this could potentially get. What am I talking about more specifically? Okay, here we go. So over the weekend, Donald Trump made a direct threat to the BRICS nations. Do not challenge the dollar. All right, lovely and fantastic. We're going to talk more about that. But let's, again, back up for a moment and realize what's going on here. In case you live under a rock, and I hope you don't, or maybe you're just waking up today, we are in a very dire situation with regard to the economy, not just here in the United States, but around the world. And this effort clearly is not any accident. And I'm here to tell you that what central banks, especially the European Central Bank and the Federal Reserve, are doing and have done, or in the process of doing right now, is extremely destructive. We are being wiped out. Okay, let's just hold that thought for a second. Here's a couple of headlines for you. This is last week. Inflation progress stalls in the United States. Let's see. Inflation in the U.S. has picked up as progress towards stabilizing prices appears to have stalled. Okay, duh. Imagine our shock. Let us move forward. Here's another headline for you. Inflation rose 2.3% in Europe, but that won't stop central banks from cutting rates. Now look, you understand this, or at least you should. If you're new here, I got a little wake-up call. Central banks could stop inflation in its tracks. They have no interest in doing so. The mechanism here of creating cash out of nothing to buy the debt, and that's how central banks are inflating at this time, is in full effect. If central banks really wanted to cut rates, what would they do? I've told you this 1,000 million freaking times. They would contract the money supply and they would vastly increase rates. And that would, of course, do what? Provide purchasing power or a return of purchasing power to the currency. This cannot be allowed to happen. We, the people of the world, will be forced to suffer. We will be forced to participate in this charade, this fiat central bank system. And it seems like the Federal Reserve got a very powerful defender right now in the shape of Donald Trump. And again, we're going to talk more about that. So just to put a perspective on this, look, inflation is rising. They know it's rising. Their numbers are all fake. Even by their own numbers, inflation keeps missing their 2% target here in the United States. The Federal Reserve has a 2% target. You know what that means, right? At least I hope you do. When a central bank says, okay, this is our target rate, they're saying that they're going to devalue the currency at a specific pace. For example, here, the Fed is saying we're trying to hit our target of 2%, which means they want to steal 2% of the dollar, in this case, purchasing power every single year. So 2% this year, another 2% the year after that, and do the math. That's why we are in the situation that we're in right now. This is massively destructive for the economy. It's massively destructive for the people of this world. And it really seems like the two main entities that are involved here in massive currency devaluation deliberately is the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank. They pretty much work in tandem. What one does, the other does, and we are paying the price for it. You understand? Okay, now just in case you needed another wake-up call here, so this is our lovely Congressional Budget Office. Now this is their projection here, 2024, where we are now, to 2034. The Congressional Budget Office projections. We have a budget office. Federal budget total $20 trillion. They expect budget deficits to total $20 trillion by their own numbers over the next 10 years. Now, think about what that means. Let me tell you something about this $20 trillion deficit that they're projecting. This is nowhere near within reality. We're not going to make it. You already know that. We're not making it right now. The world today is, obviously, in a phase of whatever you want to call it. I don't even know. But this is a destruction. This is elimination. This is an extinction level event for the middle class, and it's not going to stop. Now, going back to what central banks have in store for us moving forward, we all know, again, inflation is rising, debts and deficits. Don't take my word for this. Listen to the Congressional Budget Office. You don't believe Greg Mannarino. These are going to balloon at a pace you're not going to even believe moving forward here. And with regard to jobs, okay, here in the United States that some of you still believe are coming back, they're gone. They're never coming back. At the end of last year, go look at my videos. I said we were going to see mass layoffs this year. I nailed that one to the wall. Corporate layoffs, epic. Now, I'm here to tell you something a little early. Being that this is December 1st and we're right on the threshold of next year, if you thought this year was bad with regard to corporate layoffs, you haven't seen anything yet moving forward. Again, jobs aren't coming back. We could bring back every single manufacturing plant around the world and put them right here in the United States. That will not help. Again, that's the lie that you've been told. We're going to bring back manufacturing, bring it all back. Factory orders are non-existent. We've become an import nation. We don't basically export anything anymore except inflation to the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is frankly sick of it, including the BRICS nations. Look, again, unless you live under a rock, the world is turning its back on America. America has become the laughing stock of the world, and maybe more so over the weekend with Trump's direct threat to the BRICS nations, which we'll talk about in just a moment here. But we have become the laughing stock of the world. Nobody wants our products, and nobody wants our dollar. Why? Do you realize the privilege this is of a central bank to have the world reserve currency? That means we, the people of the United States, get to export our inflation to the rest of the world. And the rest of the world is sick of it, so they're turning their back on the dollar, they're turning their back on America, they're turning their back on American products. Does this sound about right to you? So we, again, going back to bring back all the manufacturing here to the United States. The world doesn't want our products anymore. And in case you need another wake-up call, the United States is no longer the economic engine of the world. Oh, you don't believe Greg Mannarino? No one's going to tell you that? Well, look it up for yourself. It's over here, okay? We are a fallen empire, a failed state. You understand? And it's really the fault of, again, the central banks who have colluded with the last three presidents here in the United States here to inflate the debt, more than double the debt. Take every president prior to Obama, going back to George Washington. You look at Obama, you look at Trump, and you look at Biden. They've more than doubled the debt. If you were another nation, let's say a part of the BRICS, would you want to deal with a currency that's being so systematically wiped out here by inflating? And that, again, should explain to you why today we are being bridged into a new system. Let's make the United States the crypto capital of the world, not the constitutional money capital of the world, right out of the mouth of Donald Trump. He didn't say constitutional money. He said, I'm going to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. He never mentioned a constitutional money system, okay, going back into a commodity-backed system, because, again, that would get in the way of the Federal Reserve. And right now, the Fed has a defender, which you and I knew was going to happen. What did I tell you since forever now? The Fed will have an ally behind the Resolute desk, and they got one. The guy that's bridging the system into the new tokenized system, the guy that's a proponent of negative rates, which are coming, which I think that probability of us having negative rates here in the United States is extremely high, because we are moving into, people, look, it's already happening. The economy here in the United States is in free fall. So is it around the world. But this process here, this is not by accident as well, is going to accelerate much more moving forward. Trump and the Fed here, let's talk about that. Wall Street sees a slower pace of Fed rate cuts. What have you and I been saying before this kind of news even came out? Yeah, that the Fed would more than likely not cut as aggressively as we've been told. Okay, this is setting up the stage, it's so funny, for a showdown between Trump and the Fed. The Fed's not cutting fast enough. They're boneheads, word he used last time when he was asking the Fed to institute negative rates. So expect the showdown to be set up. The economy is failing. It's the Federal Reserve's fault. But, look, man, of course we know this actually this the fault of the central banks who are working in tandem, none more so again than the ECB and the Federal Reserve, to bring us all to our knees. But we're not getting on our knees because we're too freaking smart for that. But that's the setup. I can't wait to see it. Trust me, you're going to see it. Oh, the Fed, they're boneheads. They're not going negative, meaning, you got to pay the Fed. Imagine where we're going here. Now, I wanted to talk to, before we go on to this here, which I do want to talk about in just a moment. Trump is threatening 100% tariffs on the BRICS if they undermine the dollar. Don't replace the dollar. Let's defend the Federal Reserve here, which is the largest criminal organization the world has ever seen. So they got a tag team with I guess another criminal here. So let us move forward here, people. I want you to pay attention to this. It's very, very short. This is in your inbox if you subscribe to my newsletter. So I wrote, Lions, you need to know this, expect price shocks. What I really should have said is economic and price shocks. So I go, Lions, as you may know, today is a shortened trading day. I was referring to Friday, and I put this out on Friday. And with that, I'm going to take the day off, which I did. Okay. However, I want to bring a few things to your attention. Right now, again, on Friday morning, we were watching the U.S. 10-year yield and the dollar fall. They have fallen further since. Now, I said it does appear that the projection that I laid out for all of you with regard to the MMRI is playing out correctly. So I wrote, what this tells me is there will be a much greater disconnect between the stock market and the economy. Meaning, as the economy free falls faster, the higher the stock market's going to go. Now, I went on to say here, the trajectory for the economy is not good. I think we're all pretty much on the same page. What we all need to be prepared for is a steep economic slowdown moving forward. People, and steep is an understatement here. With much higher stock market prices. The stock market's going up. I know, again, people, look. I do read through the comments, and even this morning, Greg, the market's going to crash before the inauguration of Trump. It is not going to crash before the inauguration. Are you watching? You have any idea what you're looking at here? You're seeing, again, the 10-year yield crater. Okay, that means cash is going to make its way into the 10-year yield this morning, 4.17. Do you really think that is stock market negative, the dollar dropping right here? It ain't happening. So stop those of you that have been brain psyoped into whoever, I don't know where you're getting this information from. Whoever's telling you, I'm calling them out right now as liars. Okay, maybe some YouTubers, whoever it might be, they're lying to you. Just as they've been lying to you about Bitcoin going to zero, about the stock market crashing every week, it ain't happening. The stock market is going higher on the back of an economy that's being slaughtered by design, and you are being slaughtered by design. So anyway, we are going to see an extreme economic slowdown moving forward here, which means as the economy falls, the market's going up. You got to understand, there's no connection anymore between any of this. Now, let's talk about this, and I want to hear from you. If you were a BRICS nation and you were trying to, of course, understand what's really happening here, the world is sick and tired of the dollar. The world is sick and tired of the United States exporting inflation. That's our number. We have two products here in the United States that we export. I don't know which one comes first or second. Number one or number two, it's inflation, and then it's propaganda. That's all we export to the rest of the world. The rest of the world is sick of it, henceforth why the BRICS alliance was being put together. Now, Trump is threatening a 100% tariff on the BRIC nations here if they undermine the dollar. In other words, he's supporting wholeheartedly the Federal Reserve. Trump warns BRIC nations against replacing the dollar here. Trump is saying that he wants commitments from the BRICS nations that they will not replace the dollar. Washington, Reuters. U.S. President-elect, I'm going to say select, Trump on Saturday demanded that BRICS members countries commit to not creating a new currency or support another currency that would replace the United States dollar, which means it obviously is supporting the Federal Reserve, or face 100% tariffs. The Federal Reserve, let me tell you something, people. The last 3 presidents have been the best friends to the Federal Reserve in the history of the United States. It looks like the Federal Reserve just got their number 1 best friend here. The Federal Reserve will be defended, obviously, here by President-elect Trump, and you lose, in case you were wondering here. So anyway, this is what Trump said. We require a commitment from these countries that they will neither create a new BRICS currency nor back any other currency to replace the U.S. dollar, or they will face a 100% tariff, which they could expect to say, this is Trump's words, goodbye to selling their products to the wonderful U.S. economy. The wonderful. It's so. I thought he said our economy is doing a lot. He's expecting it to improve as he becomes sit behind resolute. It's kind of like how the stock market was a big fat ugly bubble before he took office last time, but then it wasn't. People, you do realize that you've been duped. I really hope that those of you that were thinking things were going to be different, that Trump was going to take down the Fed. Now we have the number 1 Superman defender of the Federal Reserve. If you're defending the dollar, you're defending the Federal Reserve. Duh. Are we on the same page? Does that sound like something that you heard out of this guy's mouth? Yes, it is. I told you they were going to get an ally. The Fed is going to get an ally behind the resolute desk. Again, why do you think we're being converted to the crypto capital of the world, not the constitutional money capital of the world? This whole system really could be fixed, but we're being destroyed. And the defender of the Fed is destroying you as well. Just in case you were wondering, okay? It's not going to change. Now let me ask you, just to let you off, if you were a BRICS nation here, would you be laughing your ass off at this threat here? I think you probably would be. In fact, I believe that they'd be moving faster to, again, what this does here is puts the United States in a very bad place. It's announcing to the world that we're in deep shape here. And obviously the Federal Reserve sees the BRICS as a threat. Now the Fed has their spokesperson here, Donald Trump, to defend the dollar. And of course their institution. Imagine our shocked people. Imagine how surprised. Some people are going to be absolutely shocked. And they're going to defend this. Oh, Greg, you don't know what's going on. Something else. It's going to be twisted because this can't possibly be that Trump is defending the Federal Reserve and the U.S. dollar, even though it's, everywhere, every news outlet you want to talk about, everywhere. These are just 2 out of every one of them that's around the world. And the rest of the world is laughing. You know who's laughing the most? The BRICS. They're laughing. They're laughing right out of here because the United States is a failed state. And you can expect that the economy to be more reflective of that moving forward. You're going to see this economy free fall faster. Economic hardship, price shocks like you're not going to believe moving forward. There's just no doubt about it. I mean, you've already been forewarned by the second in command, Elon Musk. He said you will endure hardship if Donald Trump is selected, or he said elected, but he said you're going to suffer for your own good. Because after you suffer, things are going to be great. But make sure you suffer first. The richest man in the world. How do you like that? You think that sounds about right to you? Is that what you are expecting? You expect to suffer? Well, listen to Trump's second in command, Elon Musk. It's not Vance. Where's Vance anyway? Hey, dude, where'd you go? Guys and girls, man, I love you all from the heart. I hope you got something out of this. Really, really, I hope you did. Understand what you're looking at here. And again, what do you think? I want to... Put yourself in this spot. You are now the leader of the BRICS nation. Trump just threatened you. I'm going to tariff the living hell out of you if you try to undermine the dollar, if you try to sidestep the dollar because I want you in that Federal Reserve note because I am the defender of the Federal Reserve. Would you be laughing? Or would you be scared at all? I don't think you'd be scared. You'd be laughing. People, I love you all from the heart. I mean that. I hope you got something out of this video. People, look, man, just real quick. Today's the first of the month. At the beginning of every month, what do I say? People, support my work. You got something out of this stuff? You think I'm on track? Please support my work. All I ask for is $5 a month. So a fraction of you actually support my work, and that's okay. I got your back anyway. But if you feel like supporting my work, I really appreciate that. There are links in the description of this video. Click on any one of them to support my work. As I said, just $5 a month is all I ask for. All right. I really appreciate your help. I got your back. If I'm a little direct in my presentation here, and I hurt your feelings, I'm really not sorry. Honestly, I want you guys and girls to realize what's happening to you and wake the freak up. All right? All right, people, that's it. I'll see you in the morning. Love you all from the heart. Again, please support my work. You have a couple ways to do this. Several links in the description of this video. And that's about it, all right? I'll see you all in the morning, people. Until we meet again, please take care of yourselves and each other, all right?